So again, happy Friday. Good morning, everyone. I like seeing you all on Fridays. It's a great way to end the week. So let's keep it up. This week, we've got Oliver Kane from Roots Real Estate Group talking about investing and flips and Airbnbs and all of his successes and failures and learnings. And we'll even share a toolkit that he uses. So hopefully you guys get some good nuggets out of this. I've been in real estate for 12 years now, and I've always wanted to buy an investment property, but I'm poor. I live in the Bay Area, so all my money is in my mortgage. So I'm personally hoping to learn how to get started. Like, what's that first step? Because I know once you start, then the money starts accumulating, right? And then you can invest in more. So what we're going to talk about today is, how to get started, what the different types of investments are, that kind of stuff. Is there anything that you guys want or are hoping to get out of this that we can make sure that we cover for you?
For me, basically, like you said, first steps, look out for how to pinpoint a good investment versus not. I think general knowledge that we have as agents will be very helpful to, figure out which properties might be good investments. But obviously someone who's done it multiple times will have different advice or different tips. So I want to hear about those things to look out for, do's and don'ts.
Yeah, I think you're just knowledge. You're kind of cutting yourself short. Warren Buffett has there's a really good quote in a speech he gave about why he invested in stock and not in real estate. Like, Warren loves real estate, but he knows stock so much better, and that's why he's talking to a real estate agent. Like, why, as an agent, would you ever invest in stock? Like, you literally have the insider information, and it's legal, right? Like, in his world of stocks, like, insider information is illegal, and you can't do it. Like, in our real estate world, man, we know about the properties first. We can evaluate a market quicker and better than anybody else. Like, we are the people freaking suited to do it. So your insider knowledge is key.
All right, Oliver, let's start with a quick intro of who you are, and maybe, because we haven't done this before, talk about your background in investing a little bit.
Yeah, so I've been in real estate for a long time, but really kind of started full-time, kind of building a team and supporting other real estate agents just about 7 years ago when I retired. So I was a deputy coroner in Sacramento County and actually down there in SoCal as well. And during that time, I started investing. So my wife and I bought our first home at 23 years old.
Wow.
And we took that home and parlayed it into many more. I mean, that first one we actually bought for about $535. We ended up selling it for $980. A large chunk that has allowed us to essentially do everything we do now is from that one project. But we've done a lot of that time. Now own about 48 doors throughout the country. The bulk of my portfolio is in Indiana. We had a lot in the Bay Area and in the city. We got rid of all of it during COVID because Jess knows she's there. The market sucks. Rentals have gone down. I mean, it's just not worth it. So we're moving out of California quite a bit. We're not leaving. We're going to be here. Have picked up a couple California properties recently through unique financing, some subject twos, some loan assumptions, things like that. So we've actually had a couple clients, to Hannah's point, that we met with. We couldn't sell the house for what they needed. We just couldn't. Like, they were upside on their loan, and I said, hey, what if I just took over your loan? What if I did this? And right, and everybody's like, I don't know, right? I'm all, okay, how about I put your home on the market for 45 days? If we get no action, I'll take over the loan. And that's how we've got those ones, right? So we're slowly creeping back into California. We do a lot of flips here. So we do about 25 flips a year is our goal. And we're now on par to do that in Florida as well. So we're doing some flips out in Florida now as well. And then we've done Montana, Texas, and a few other states, but really kind of established up and running in California and Florida is where we're doing them on a large scale.
Do you have a team that does this with you? Like, how do you find the time to do all of this on top of the real estate business you guys run?
The real estate business, I have an amazing team in the real estate world. Y'all got to meet Shannon a while back, and she's my director of operations. We've been together for quite some time now, and she runs the day-to-day in the real estate world. I'm here for coaching, and I meet with my agents. I have a few real estate clients, but Shannon truly runs the day-to-day in the real estate world, and I could not do this without her. And then in the investing world and in the fix and flip world, we have a few general contractors that work solely for us. We employ them fully, and that's how and we've grown into that, right? Like we used to kind of find them. I used to do my own work, but I just don't have the time anymore. So now we have generals that work for us, and then this Florida project, we're only 3 months into it. So I went out there, I interviewed people, and we are now building a team out there right now.
Awesome. All right, let's start with what are the different types of investments? You said flipping, fix and flips. Like what are the different categories of investing?
Yeah, I mean, in the real estate world, right? I mean, you have your residential of any kind of shape and form, and anything that you can do residential, you can do commercial too, right? But I mean, when I'm looking at a property, I like to buy properties that I can fix and flip, that I can long-term hold, that I can midterm, or that I can Airbnb, right? Like I like a property that has that versatility to do a little bit of everything, because I have a lot of friends in that '08 market that lost everything because they bought niche properties that could only do one thing, and they couldn't turn them into rentals, or they had too many of them torn apart. They just couldn't rent them out, right? So I learned from that market that we survived that I want a versatile property that I have all the options with. So if the market turns and I can't sell it, that's fine. I'll long-term rent it. If I can't long-term rent it, maybe I'll short-term. Like, let's say it's just the election cycle would have been a good point, right? Like, hey, for 3 months, I'm going to rent this thing out, and we're going to put it on the market during a better market, right? So I like a versatile home. And I like stuff in desirable areas. Like I will not buy, we have some cool tools that I use. Area Pro is one of them that looks at days on market and what those market looks like. And I won't buy places that have 45 plus days on market. We buy in those places that move quickly.
You want to make sure that you'll be able to sell it after.
Yep. And hold time's important, right? I mean, I'm lucky enough to be at a point where we pay cash for most of our properties, but hold time still affects us from buying another property. So you don't want to hold them, especially if you're in that hard money world, right? 45 days in a hard money world could totally break your project.
For sure. How do you evaluate what market to invest in? I mean, as an agent, you've got access to your MLS, but how do you get the analytics you need for an MLS in another state? Or like, should you even invest in another state?
Yeah. I mean, quite honestly, I will tell people that if you're following the real estate world, you're already behind the 8 ball, right? Like it's important and you need that analytics to kind of know. But if you're looking at, wow, this place is booming, you're already too late, right? You got to follow industry and what's happening there, right? So I'm subscribed to, I think, like 15 different business journals throughout the country to kind of understand what's happening where. I think a really cool thing happening right now is right outside of Missouri. Boeing is building a 3 million square foot combat airplane manufacturing place. Like they're actually going to build the planes that we use in our military. So a place that will never go out of business, a place that has a customer that will always pay on time, right? They're working with the U.S. government, and it's a $3 million factory. Like how many people do you think they're going to shove into that factory to work there? And then what comes with that, right? Like there now comes computer chips, there comes wiring, there's kind of like when the manufacturing plant of that size goes someplace, all the other manufacturers come as well. So I follow the economy as a whole. There's some cool things happening right now, and it would be awesome if it happened, right? But the new Doge branch of our government announced that he feels we shouldn't be paying property taxes anymore. And DeSantis kind of got behind it in Florida and said they're going to start looking into it. Like if they drop property taxes in Florida, what do you think it's going to do to that market?
Yeah.
So looking at the economy as a whole, I think is incredibly important. And then once you look at that economy as a whole, then you dive into that real estate and evaluating your properties, right? So I use Area Pro is my go-to. Area Pro is analytics from any market across this country. It's tied into every MLS is what it's tied into. So you can literally type in like, hey, I want to learn more about this market, and you can do a zip code, a school, a park, like anything, like tell me more about this market. It'll give you average days on market. It'll give you average price points. It'll break it down to like, $200,000 home, $500,000 homes, and how long they sit on the market. So just a really quick down and dirty analytics. And it has a really neat AI in there too. So you can type, hey, like teach me a little bit about this market. It'll actually break down the schools and the ratings and everything. So I like Area Pro for learning about the other markets once I identify that market.
Would this be a good time to look at your toolkit, your spreadsheet, and how would you quantify if it's a good market or not?
Let's see. If I open.
If we're going too fast for you guys, please tell us to slow down, or if you've got questions, jump in. I feel like we both had caffeine this morning.
I've had a lot. And I talk fast anyways. It's the ADHD in me. I think that's why I invest well, is the ADHD.
Yeah, you got to have so many things going on at once.
I am. Let me try again, Jess. It's not letting me share.
Oh, shoot. Let me put the settings.
Hey, Oliver.
Yo.
Hey, how did you get comfortable with investing in properties that say were in another state or 3, 4, 5, 10 hours away from you without actually getting eyes on the property and so forth?
Great question.
Um,
Do you go check out all the homes before you buy them?
Or are you working with investors in those areas that kind of understand what's going on as well? I mean, can you just kind of tell me about the farthest away investment that you've ever done?
Indiana is the farthest away. And it was my very first purchase was a big one, as a 25 home portfolio. And it was, I learned a long time ago that all I care about is the numbers. That's all I care about. If the numbers tell me yes, then I'll buy the property. Like, I don't care what it looks like. I don't care, right? I have some criteria. So in Indiana, I want a new roof. I want knob and tube gone. And I want galvanized gone. If those three things are done, like, I don't care, right? I mean, and even with that, there's some compromises I've made. Like with this package, there's a couple homes that needed roofs, so it was worth the purchase, right? But I rely heavily on the analytics and the number, and the home and the prices doesn't matter to me. If it cash flows, if the numbers and the deal say it works, then let's go, right? But the houses are essentially, I treat them like bank accounts, is how I tell my people. Like, look, you're buying an asset that is yours, that is going to be there, and that money's not going anywhere. So if the deal doesn't work, sell the home and move on and get rid of it, right? But if the numbers do what I think they're going to do, then let's go, right? This is a great deal. So just get comfortable looking at the numbers and not looking at the noise, right?
Yeah. Well, are you doing flips in those, or are those more buy and hold for rental?
Indiana, Florida's, we're doing flips. So Florida, very trustworthy team on the ground. So I have an agent out there that's on my team. She's looking at the home, she's evaluating the homes, they're walking me through on FaceTimes. And then I have, for years, I've negotiated my price points on material and everything. So I can really control my rehab costs. So I'm okay if I run into little hiccups here and there, because I can control my costs pretty well. So, but I have someone on the ground putting eyes on it that I know, love, and trust, right? So it's not fully set on scene for a flip.
Right. That was my next question. So have you spent some time down there to actually talking to some contractors and finding out like who you want to add to your team, and then you kind of get it set up and then move on? Or are you buying properties and trying to back into it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this one, a real estate agent identified the home. We did a virtual walkthrough with it. I looked at the comps. I looked at all my numbers and said, yeah, those numbers work. The real estate agent got me 3 quotes for everything, HVAC, plumbing. So this house needs everything. It was fully gutted from the hurricane. So got quotes for everything. I took the best quotes. I called up those people and explained who I am, what I want to accomplish. It is, very like, hey, I'm Oliver Kane. Julie has been working with you, but I may be leading this project. This is where I need these prices to be, and here's what I promise you in return, right? I promise you that I want to grow this business, and I want to do 20 to 25 homes over the next year, and I would love for you to be my partner in every one of these homes. But to do that, I need these price points to align with where I can make money and you can make money.
Right.
In return, I know that I get better pricing than you. Like I said nicely in that on material, and I would love to help grow your business as well. So I imagine you have other work outside of this house. I would love the opportunity to look at your material list and the things that you're buying. And if I could buy those materials for you at my cost, would that benefit you, right? So my contractor working there, I just did an order for him yesterday. I saved him about $1,700 on material that he was going to buy for another job that is now going directly into his pocket, right? Because he's getting his material at a better price. So I learned a long time ago. I mean, we're doing this together. Like, I want you to benefit and win just as much as I'm benefiting and win, right? So I need my pricing controlled because we're going to do a lot of them, but let me help you make money elsewhere.
Right. Well, when you're analyzing that property in Florida, right, on the computer, the numbers work out. Who are you having inspecting the property before or are you?
Typically on my flips, I don't do inspections. Like I've been, and that changed over the last 20 years, right? 20 years ago, I would do inspections, right? When I'm putting offers on flips now, my price is to reflect no inspections, out the door, closed in 5 days, like take my offer, because you're probably going to get a better offer, but you're not going to get better terms, right? So a lot of my price points, my offers are designed to not have inspections, and I deal with the problems as they come.
Right.
Had enough in my profits that if I bump into something, like I'm still going to be okay. I mean, the worst I've done in the last 20 years is break even.
Gotcha. Well, where's your confidence that you're not going to acquire this property and then find out you've got, besides a roof and maybe, HVAC and stuff, but now you got a foundation problem, or you got a structural issue that you didn't know of, or you've got a survey issue that didn't pop up in the initial, what I mean? Just unknowns, right? We know there's plenty of them out there, but how do you get past that or get your investor to get past that for these quick purchases?
Yeah. My confidence is in my purchase price. That's where you really make your money, is in the buy. You make it in the buy, right? So I'm buying low enough that if something happens, there's still the margin in there to do it, right? So that's where my confidence is that we bought this home low enough that we now have this margin after we do these repairs, that if we have to spend an extra $10,000 or so, like, it's going to be okay. It's not going to be a home run anymore, but we're not going to lose money.
Gotcha. So would you say you kind of pad those expenses a little bit more on those out of town flips that you don't have?
100%. My agent in Florida was funny. I just evaluated one, and so I think we can do all this for 25. Well, I think we could too, but I'm going to put 35 in my numbers.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm padding those numbers as well, just in case. So my numbers are very much padded up when I'm evaluating that flip in my rehab budget.
Sure.
When buying, I just bought a hotel recently, and my cap rate numbers were very, very low. Like, hey, if I do 50% of this, like, I'm still gonna be happy, so I'll buy this deal, right? But I think I'll probably much better than that. So yeah, cap rate and everything I estimate low, rehab I estimate high.
So are you typically aiming for like a 40 to 50% under market value?
Yep, and I typically land at 30. If I can buy at 30, I'll buy at 30.
Okay, and then what's your margin if you can get one under 30? What's your typical profit margin on that?
Let me see if I can show you.
Looking for that spreadsheet.
Yeah, and Oliver, the reason why I'm asking a lot of these questions, I've got a specific partner that I've been doing this, I don't know, 3-4 years now. We've gotten more and more consistent, and so this year we're really looking at trying to make just a full business plan at just doing flips, right?
Awesome.
And so that's where I'm putting together this business plan. So some of these like out of state stuff I've never personally been comfortable of, unless, like I've got ties to Oklahoma, so I can have a buddy that I know very well, drive over and look at the property, and I can Venmo him $100 or something. But I can't get investors to really step outside of the Houston market. Because they're all A-type personalities too, and they want to be able to, if they want to drive by and look at the property, they can, but they know if it's in another state, they're never going to do that.
Right.
So
yes, my stuff's not opening, so I'll share it with you, Robert, after. So I have a really cool Excel spreadsheet. It's so cool that I can share with you. That literally says yes or no. Like, so you put in your purchase price, you put in your rehab budget, you put in your cost of borrowing money. So I have just, right, if you're hard money, you put in your hard money. I even have a gap analysis. Well, let's say you're borrowing it from a 401k and it costs you X amount to borrow that money. So I have all the analytics are in there to break that down. And then at the end, there's a little ticker that says yes or no. Like, do the deal or don't do the deal, right?
Gotcha.
And that's how I've got my investors confident. So I used to show them all the numbers.
Yeah.
Right, like I literally added a yes or no checkbox in there, and that has like been the game changer, because now like this green box pops up and said yes, and like, oh, we should buy it out. Because yes.
Well, that's where I was a financial advisor for about 10 years, and so I've taken some of that analytical talent and moved it over to the real estate. But I've also found I can confuse the shit out of a customer real quick, with giving them too much detail. Mm-hmm. So it's really, I'm trying to streamline it a little bit more for some of these guys that have the cash. They can put it aside and, let it work for them.
Let me see if I can pull it up another way. So yeah, it's streamlining it, and not only streamlining it, but like becoming the market expert, right? Before I go and talk to these clients about investing with me, I'm typically doing it on my own so that I can show like, here's the project I've done. Here's what I've been able to accomplish, and here are the numbers that I work with. Like, would you be interested if I can help you do this too,
Right.
Can I ask a slightly off-topic question?
Yo, what's up?
For the Indiana properties, did you, or in general, if you're going to hold on to it for rentals, do you find a property manager nearby to manage them, or do you do it just remote?
Nope, all fully managed, and typically do it with a real estate team, right? So I partnered with some really cool agents out there, and they're on my team now, right? So trying to keep it all in house.
Cool.
And because once you do that too, you can negotiate your price point too. All right, I think I might have got it this time. Percent now.
Yep,
Boom, there it is.
Oh, she probably had access to this too.
All right, this is my calculator I use for flips, and I'll email it to you too.
Oh, cool. Thank you. Yeah,
So
I love spreadsheets.
property address, if you want to put it in there, obviously, how long the project's going to take, right? So 4 months. We put in our after repair of 500,000, our purchase price of 390. This is a deal we're looking at right now. That right, as you can see, it said no. So rehab budget was 35, closing cost 2,500. Your all in is 427. Here is total cost. We're not doing hard money. This is where hard money would go right here if you're using hard money. The next bracket, the gap analysis. So the gap is literally like the cost of borrowing money. So again, like if you're borrowing money from someplace where you're already making interest on that money, you have to take that into account. A lot of people will pull it out of this interest gaining account and say, oh, it doesn't cost me anything. Well, no, it did. It cost you the 10% you're losing every month, right?
Right,
so
right.
Calculating that as well. You put in your real estate commissions, you put in closing costs, and then it's neat. So from here, like let's say I put it on at 500, it actually breaks down from 480 to 520 for me. So right, like here's what I'll get profit at 480, I'll get 21,000. At 520, I get 58,000. But I have my yes no clicker over here set for the 500 mark. So at $40,000, like that's no for me, right? Because at $40,000, one bad mistake could change that profit margin real quick. You know, like if we need a foundation or whatever. So that's how I have mine set up, right? Like I don't want to make less than, if it would have been 45, it would have been all in. Right at 40,000, it's just too much work to put in for 4 months to make 10 grand a month. I can just go sell 4 houses, right, and make that same money.
Right.
This is great. Yeah, I'll share
Awesome.
this
Yeah.
calculator out after. Thank you.
Very simple, right? I mean, and then like I said, Robert, this yes no thing has been the real game changer for people, right?
Yeah, that's a great idea.
People are like, oh yeah, it's a good deal, and then you can obviously show them why it's a good deal too, because you can show them the numbers right here. So that's how we're analyzing out of state, right? And then in terms of learning these markets, like outside of talking to Jess every Friday, like my typical lead gen and calling is I'm calling agents across the country, like teach me something about your market. I go to Keller Family Reunion, I go to EXPCon, I go to all these other brokerages events to literally hang out in lobbies. And like I don't go into the room because I don't care what Keller has to say, but I want to be in the hotel room with these agents that are doing transactions everywhere, you know. And I'll sit in the lobby or in the bars and I'll meet people for 3 days and kind of build my network. And one of my first questions is like, hey, why should someone buy in your neighborhood? Why should someone invest in your neighborhood? Tell me something about your neighborhood, right? So I'm going out and actually learning about these neighborhoods where all these people are just, you know, already coming into one place, you know. So I don't have to go to every market. I go to Texas, you know.
Right. Are
Good.
you, sorry, somebody else can ask a question. I got another question when you get a chance.
Go for it. I was just saying that's a great idea.
Are you primarily for the flips? I mean, do you analyze the whole, I don't know, you know, there's different stages, right? So are you buying ones that are pretty dilapidated and you know that you got to just bring everything builder grade up to par to get it flipped? Or are you looking at specific ones that you can say, look, I know in this market, if I add a bedroom, you know, if it's already a set amount of square feet and I add a bedroom, make it a 4-bedroom because that's hot in that area, then I'm going to get a team that's really good at adding a bedroom, right? And those are the properties I'll look for. Or are you just kind of, if they make sense on paper, then you figure out what you need to do depending on the deal on the inside or exterior to get it turned around?
All I care about is the numbers. Like I don't care about the house at all. Like if the numbers say I can do it, then I'm in, right? I'll analyze the deal without even looking at pictures sometime, and then I'll look at pictures. Then I'll go to the property, right? Like this 390 deal, like someone called me with these numbers and I plugged them in and I said, no, thank you. Like I don't want to see the house, right? Like I just don't, like they told me we got because they already had an offer at I think 385. So they said, hey, we want to get this house. We'll sell it to you for 390. And I did this. So I'm like, no, I'm okay, right? I don't even know what house it is. So I do know like hold time, right? So it depends on where you're getting your money from too. Like I am lucky enough to have built a world where I'm buying with cash right now. So hold time doesn't matter to me as much. If you're buying with hard money, like I don't think you want to get into
we're all cash.
Yeah. So if you're buying with cash, hold time matters in that you can't buy another property, but it doesn't matter in like, so hard money right now, you're in that 15 to 18% world. Like you can't afford to wait for permits, to wait for inspections. Like, so doing additions is typically a big no for me on hard money. On hard money, I want like a 12 to 13 day rehab and back on that market and get the heck out of there, right? Because you're racing hard money clock. So it depends on where your money's coming from too, I believe. But no, I mean, if the numbers work, we'll do anything. We bought a burnt down duplex recently, and we're doing a full rebuild. That's going to be a year. I mean, my money's set up for a year now there.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay.
So it's just understanding what you want to accomplish, right? Like I have a client that wants to buy 12 a year. So tying all of his money up in that duplex won't work for him, right? So I would never even present it to him. Like he wants to do one a month. So I got to find ones that we can turn quickly for that particular client.
Right. Okay, cool. Well, when you send me that spreadsheet, then I want to fire back something to you just to take a look at, because our plan right now is to take initial cash of $1 million, and then what can we do? Close to double that amount, right? So we're looking at, I think just to hit 600,000 profit in 1 year, we're looking at 6 to 8 homes for this one client. So obviously, if he wants to double that, then we could be up in 12 to 13 homes easily. But again, it's doing, you've got the playbook already, sounds like. So it's just trying to, follow your guides to get this thing streamlined so that, we're just moving at a faster pace than what we've done in the past. We typically have only done like 3 in a year, right? And most of those, they've kind of been unicorns. We haven't had to do more than maybe 20 grand of work, and that's just cosmetic.
Yeah, no, Robert, we'd love to connect. And yeah, I'll email you on my email. So yeah, would love to connect and kind of learn more and see how we can kind of help you and your clients.
Yeah, there actually may be some good deals out here that you may want to look at too. So who knows?
So if it's all right, I know you got to run soon, Oliver. Can we spend a few minutes talking about how to get started? Like, money's tied up in your mortgage, or you've got like $10,000 or $20,000 available, or like what is the bare minimum you need to buy your first investment property? Where do you recommend we start?
Well, I've seen. I know where Jess lives, and don't let her fool you. She has equity. She can invest today if she wanted to. Bury a home. Then she got a really good buy on her home too, right? So we all have equity somewhere, right? I mean, is it harder to get right now? Absolutely, right? But some that I launched a while back is we now allow our clients to invest with us, right? Not only clients, but other agents across the country now investing with us, and but you find a partner, you find someone else who's doing it at a high level, and you just start, right? I have a client who I couldn't get. He wanted to buy a house. He wanted to do a flip, but like every deal, like no, right? Just he wouldn't bite the bullet and just do it. So I'm like, hey Miguel, like what if I bought the house and you cover the rehab, right? So there's no risk. Like I'm taking on the $450,000 check. All I want you to do is do the rehab, and I'm gonna be with you every step of the way. Like I'm gonna help you pick it. I'm gonna teach you and show you how to do it, so you can do it on your own. And he's like, I'll do that. And now, like, we're not even done with that project yet. We're already in contract on 2 more now because he finally, like, he got over that edge and he's doing it, right? People don't always have that kind of money to do it right now. And I would tell you right now, do not use hard money. I loan hard money. Don't freaking borrow it. Like, it's 18%. You will lose every time with hard money today. But I mean, look at duplexes that you could buy for 3.5% down. I don't know if we're not first time buyers yet, right? There's some cool first time buyer programs. There's other ways of getting into homes, and we're real estate agents. We can get creative of how do we get in there. We can do a subject to deal. The subject to deal we just bought, I bought with $5,000 what I gave them to get their house from that, right? So $5,000.
What's subject to?
Subject to is when you buy their home and that loan stays in that person's name, right? So I'm buying the home subject to you keeping the loan.
Interesting.
So no background check on me, no hit to my credit score, no one ever know I own it. Like it doesn't, like that home doesn't exist in my portfolio. So I go to borrow money elsewhere, like that doesn't even, no one sees it. That loan is sitting in their name. I'm making the payments. I'm doing everything to keep that home active. But right, we were able to do that for $5,000. Right, like find a way and get creative. I love these conversations. Literally call me. I work East Coast hours to West Coast hours. I'm up at 4 a.m. and I go to bed at like 2. So literally call me anytime you want, because I love it. As long as you don't want to talk to me like on a treadmill or something, I'll typically, I will answer my phone.
Hannah, you had a question.
Yes. So this is in regards to more like long-term rentals. So if you have a property that you're planning to long-term rent out, I've noticed a lot of owners won't update the home very often or even up front, because they know if they're buying, if they have a home in the right market where there's a lot of interest, then they don't need to update it so much for people to want to rent it. But you had mentioned that you want to make sure the property could be also as like an Airbnb, or if you needed to sell it, you would be able to sell it. So I'm wondering, at what point do you do those upgrades? Is it more consistently that you're upgrading the home to make sure it stays of high interest to people who are wanting to long-term, mid-term, short-term rent it or even buy it? Or are you waiting until you sell the property to really like up its value at that point?
Good question.
It depends on your market. Like Florida's a great example. Like you can do whatever you want to the home, and it's not going to change the rental market at all. Indiana's even better. Like I remodeled one of my homes in Indiana. I got $25 more a month is all I got. Like it doesn't matter. Like there's markets where people just don't care. There's markets that are highly focused to that college age kid, right? Who they just need a place to live.
Yeah.
So they were not doing it. But in the California market, if I put new appliances, new flooring in, and new countertops in, I could maybe get $200 to $500 more a month. So I'll take that investment up front. I will typically make choices that will hold up to that 5-year mark, right? Like I'm not going to put carpet in. I'm going to put like a vinyl floor. I'm going to put a tile, something that I can just go in and mop and put back on the market, right? So I'm not spending my money twice. So I'll never, ever put carpet in anywhere. If I'm going to do countertops, I'm just going to buy the granite, the quartz up front. I'm not going to buy like a cheap laminate or like a butcher block. I'm going to put something that will hold up. And we'll make those choices. But I mean, there's plenty of homes that we do absolutely nothing to because it just doesn't change the needle enough to do it.
You got to look at what the similar ones are renting for, and if they're updated or not.
I think that makes a lot of sense, because I used to be in property management, and there were tenants that would just destroy the carpet every time they moved in and out, and they were moving in and out yearly because they were near, let's say, a college, and they just wanted to move, or different roommate situation or whatever. So then we were having to replace that carpet every single time, and that was so annoying. Or they would, I noticed that certain owners will not want to make certain updates or fixes to things because yes, it costs them money, but they're choosing the cheapest option. But by choosing the cheapest option, now they're having to replace it way more often. It's costing more in the long run.
No, absolutely. In those markets, Hannah, like I learned a long, long time ago that brand new appliances go just as far as anything else. Like if you are in a lower end market and you can give someone a brand new refrigerator, brand new oven that they've never had before and would never be able to buy on their own, like that changes your rent so much more than anything else. So new appliances is something I do, even in my flips. Like I do not sell a home without washer, dryer, fridge. Like we're fully stocked, ready to go turnkey, because now we're getting every buyer to have that option, right? We might lose that buyer because they can't afford to put this down payment down and buy new appliances.
Makes sense. Do you mind stopping the screen share so I can see you bigger?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
How do you find a deal that's this might be a dumb question for realtors, so forgive my ignorance, but how do you find deals that are loan assumptions? And is that a good idea for an investment property?
Loan assumptions? We got a puppy in here.
Hi, what a cutie.
By cold calling, by making calls, by reaching out. So you find places that are, we all have tools in our escrow offices and everywhere else where we can see what people owe on their homes, and you find those homes that don't have the gap to resell, right? And you call those people and you find out why. The pre-foreclosures, your title company gets you all those, and you call the foreclosures and you have that tough conversation. Like, look, I know it's a hard conversation, but I'm calling because I noticed that you fall behind on your payments a little bit. Is there anything I can do to help you, right? I mean, I own a mortgage bank, and I'd love to maybe help you refinance. Have you thought about selling the home and capitalizing on your equity? You don't have equity. Have you thought about maybe like potentially working with someone to help bring you up to speed on your payments and then take over those payments moving forward? So looking at homes and doing the analytics of those particular homes. You have real estate agents advertising them every once in a while now in the MLS. but you got to get out there. You don't, the deal if it's on the MLS, again, it's too late, right? You want to find that deal before MLS.
Robert.
I have run across a website. I don't know if it's just local to the Texas or not, but it has like, it's a full website of all assumable loans, and it tells you, if they're VA, it shows you some of the high, the numbers, what your down payment would be, and then what the rate would be. So you could see if this house is listed at 700 grand, but you could assume it as a VA with, 30,000 and so on. If I find that, I'll shoot it to Jessica and she can send it out to everybody.
Awesome. Thank you.
Typically, unfortunately, though, they're coming from that wholesaler world, right, where someone else is trying to make a little bit of money too, right? So again, if you buy before that, you're not going to pay $35,000. You're really only going to pay like 10 to 5, right? I mean, there are some larger gaps you got to cover, but any government loan is assumable. So USDA, VA, and FHA. Conventionals are only assumable for family members, not for anybody else.
Didn't realize that. What else do you guys want to know? I feel like we covered the gamut here on investment.
Robert, I got a few other spreadsheets I'll send you as well too. I have a really good one that analyzes long-term deals as well. So it's great. It shows 20-year appreciation and 20-year rent increase as well. So if you're evaluating a long-term deal as well, and that one's neat because I think I have it built out to do 17 homes at one time. So if you're buying a portfolio, you put 17 homes in, you can put in the rent, you can put in property tax, you can put everything, and it'll spit out your numbers for you as a whole package. And like I said, I love that it looks at equity growth and it looks at rent increase over a period.
Perfect. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Thanks for your time, Oliver. This is really helpful.
Yeah.
If you guys want a spreadsheet to do something, like call me because we'll build it. Like I love it. I like we'll build spreadsheets to really pretty much evaluate anything. We're working on.
Do you want to throw your email or your phone number in the chat for them?
Yeah. I don't know how to do this. I use Zoom like an adult. Yes, I don't know how to do this stuff.
No, you don't have to meet them in a hotel lobby. You can just get his number from chat.
There you go. BRKNE.
Can you share those spreadsheets with all of us as well, or should we put our emails in, or Jessica, do you have them?
Emails for everybody? That's easier than me trying to copy from here. Will you send me, or here, I'll do this actually.
Yeah, I'll do a group email with all of us.
Okay, thanks.
That's my email too. So if you email me, I will send you anything you want. I'm that weird millennial that prefers phone calls over text messages. Like text messages get buried. I think I'm hitting 1,000 a day now, so they get buried real quick. So
I text Oliver and he immediately calls me on the phone.
Yeah. They get lost in my phone. So phone calls are appreciated.
Awesome.
But yeah, no, I love the opportunity to kind of learn and talk about any market out there too. That's what I spend my days doing when I wake up. I like to evaluate the market and where is that next boom coming? I'm watching closely in that Missouri market because of Boeing and some other things happening there. I love to evaluate a deal. If you have anything and you want help breaking it down, like I'm more than happy to kind of walk you through my process and how I would evaluate a deal.
Awesome.
I have another question.
There, Hannah and Josh in Florida, in San Diego, actually, in La Jolla.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a question. So, I'm thinking of San Diego area, and there's different areas, and we talked a little bit about this before. College students don't need or don't look for homes so updated and whatnot. What do you think about like homes in areas around colleges versus hospitals versus near military bases? Like, have you found any one or the other to be more successful or a better investment?
Ideally, you're looking for something that grabs all of that, right? So like San Diego is a great example of that. Huntsville, Alabama is a great example of that. Huntsville, that's everybody talks about Huntsville. So Huntsville has the largest military ammunition base in the world. It has manufacturing. It has some colleges, some smaller colleges, right? But it has that, right? My focus on Indiana. So Indiana has more colleges than any state in our country. That's why I go to Indiana. Indiana is a federal prison in the town I invest in. They have 2 hospitals in the town I invest in, right? So you look for a little good mixture of all of it. If you want to do midterms though, right, you're going to look in that hospital heavy world, right? If you want a good population of renters, colleges are always going to be your go-to. Because if you think of hospitals and military bases, a lot of the lower end paid military guys have to live on base, or there's some requirements. The guys that don't have to live on base can typically afford to buy a house. Like they're actually paid pretty well, and there's some great benefits for them to buy. Same with nurses, right? Like the midterm world is funny. I have a bunch of people that want to do midterms. Like, well, I want to buy this home and I want to separate it into 5 bedrooms and midterm to 5 nurses. I'm all like, what $200,000 a year person do you think wants to share a house with them? Like they can afford to get their own rental. They don't need to share, right? So just thinking logically about it, San Diego's neat, like that UTC area, I think is like that ideal location, right? UTC is kind of close to all of it, right? It's all right there. And it still has that draw. It has all your shopping. It's close enough to the beach, and it's affordable, right? It's cheaper than like some other place, right? Escondido's a good little spot as well because San Marcos College has opened up there. But yeah, I mean, just understanding your market and geographically, like what am I trying to attract here? I would San Diego actually more for that, taking houses and dividing them up, because those college kids need to rent bedrooms, right? So in San Diego, like if I'm in that UTC area, or if I'm in the oh my gosh, right off of College on
SDSU area.
On the state area, like right off 8, like buy a duplex and turn that thing into 4 bedrooms and rent it out individually to people, individual leases, individual contracts, individual everything, individual deposits, and you're going to make far more money than just renting it on their own. And most of them have to, you know.
Yeah.
So it's just being conscious of your people you're marketing to.
Thanks.
Awesome.
Jess, you and I were talking about these rooms. Like, I know we want to keep them going. These are open to non-radius people, right? Like, can we use these to people too that we want to maybe recruit to our team or kind of add value to?
Yeah, please bring your friends, your colleagues, people you want to get in business with. Open for anybody, for sure.
Yeah. I would love to. Do we have any ideas? I mean, Hannah and Josh were jumping on regularly. Like, what do we want to talk about in these rooms? What do you guys want to talk about?
But yeah, what should we do next?
I like this one. Well, here's one. I'm selling land in Massachusetts that I inherited an acre of land. I'm going to sell that, and I want to buy with that. Like, so I'm thinking, should I buy out of state first, or should I buy my own place first, or should I buy a duplex? That's where I'm kind of at. I got to find out how much I get first, right?
Yeah, I mean, I always tell people you should buy your own place. If you buy your own place, it's so much easier to borrow money from your primary residence than it is to borrow from a renter, right? Like, and now you're controlling your cost of living, and I think it gives you some validity as a realtor when you. Yeah. Right? Like, oh, well, where do you live? Well, actually, I rent. Like, I met a San Diego agent at Keller Williams Mega Camp a while back. She sells La Jolla. She sells, like, her price point. I looked her up. Her price point is $4.5 million. She rents in frickin' Escondido is where she rents. I'm like, what do you tell these people when you're meeting them? And like, oh, I don't. Like, they think I live right here. Like, she had the big old frickin' fake diamond ring on. Like, she was playing the part, right? But I mean, it's just, no one's going to dig deep into her story, right? She's been there long enough. But at the end of the day, right, I just think it has validity to you. And you can just speak at a higher level now. Like, I bought in this market, and here's why. And here's why I think you should too. So and then, like I said, easier to borrow money from your primary than from anything else.
Yeah. Cool.
Thanks. Well, hope you'll have a fantastic weekend. We actually have not all of our next week. Maybe we can do a second if you want to, but I've got somebody talking about how to get a gazillion listings from probates next week. So
I'll be here. I love these things. So I'll be in. That's my new Friday routine.
Perfect. Yeah. If you guys want to learn about getting more listings from probates, we've got an expert coming in next week for that.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right.
Take care. Shoot me a text. I don't mind. I don't want to shoot me a text. I'll save your numbers right away. That way I have your numbers when you do call. So would love to connect with all of you.
Thank you, Oliver.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.